Warmer with wind the next 2 days before the chance for snow, severe thunderstorms returns to Texas, and then a significant Arctic cold front arrives this weekend with some very cold, potentially dangerous air. Let's talk about it in this Hump Day edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. It is Wednesday, the 10th of January, 2023. A very busy weather pattern setting up for the state of Texas as we deal with multiple weather issues over the next 5 days. We'll talk about each one of them. We'll talk you through it. We'll talk about what we're not expecting, but on the flip side, we'll talk about some of the possibilities that we could deal with over the next few days. Let's start off tomorrow with wind. Now, it's going to be pretty darn windy across the state later this morning to this afternoon. We'll quiet down again by sunset, except for the Guadalupe Mountains there in far west Texas. Tomorrow is going to be even windier after sunrise. By late morning, we're going to have wind gusts across the state above 30 miles an hour. Then on the backside of a cold front on the southwestern side of an intensifying area of low pressure, you can see we're going to be doing the whole West Texas dust relocate east situation again. We're going to see wind gusts of 45 to 60 miles an hour across the portions of far west Texas, Davis, Guadalupe Mountains into the Permian Basin. Wind gusts up to 50 plus miles an hour possible West Texas Panhandle by dinner time tomorrow, and those gusty winds will spread east behind a storm system. Tomorrow night into Friday morning, we'll have gusty southeast winds ahead of that storm system, and that'll take us into tomorrow evening and Friday morning. At the same time, we'll let this loop play out. We're going to have a line of thunderstorms develop near the Interstate 35 corridor Thursday evening, maybe around 10 p.m., give or take an hour or two. That line of storms will progress east across the Arklatex, East Texas, perhaps extending down into the Brazos Valley and southeast Texas before marching east of Texas, probably by sunrise Friday. Now, this is going to be a situation we don't deal with too often, but the chance for severe storms tomorrow night nocturnally during the overnight and Friday morning hours. We're going to have an intensifying surface low pressure to our north that's going to crank up the low-level wind shear, pull moisture back inland from the Gulf of Mexico. Not much, but just enough to present the risk for severe thunderstorms, mainly damaging winds, spotty hail, but the threat for spin-up tornadoes as well. Back on the cold side of the system, we may see snow showers, a few snow squalls in the panhandle of Texas, maybe as far south as the South Plains, Lubbock, moving east into Oklahoma. We may see a few spots get maybe an inch or two of snow in the panhandle tomorrow evening, and with those gusty winds, the snow will be blowing around. In terms of severe weather potential, again, here's the severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center as of this morning's outlook. Main time frame will be 10 p.m. Thursday on the western periphery from Sherman to DFW all the way down towards Killeen, Austin east through 6 a.m. Friday as storms exit Texas to the east. The best relative chance for scattered severe storms, the Arklatex, northeast Texas, east Texas, the eastern Brazos Valley, towards the Golden Triangle, generally east of a line from, let's just say, Paris to Canton, over towards Bryan College Station, all the way east through Beaumont, Jasper, Lufkin Center, Texarkana, Longview, Marshall. And again, damaging winds going to be the main issue with that line of storms. Not all of those storms will be severe. There's still some questions, just like the other day, but the threat's there. Maybe some nickel to quarter size hail, and the potential for a couple spin-up tornadoes. Now, if it becomes more apparent or increasingly likely we're going to be dealing with scattered severe storms ahead of that squall line, just like we dealt with 2 days ago, the threat for a few tornadoes would increase, even though it would be the middle of the night, which would make it an even more dangerous threat. So we're going to have to monitor that possibility carefully. In terms of forecast rain totals, with the activity tomorrow night and Friday morning, we could see a tenth of an inch of rain up to about half an inch of rain. The highest rain totals up around a half an inch possible across the Arklatex, northeast Texas, with the quarter to half inch amounts across East Texas. Flash flooding is not likely. Now let's look at temperatures over the next several days, then we'll get into our issue for the weekend and early next week. Today's high temperatures across the state, 60s, 70s, except the Arklatex, Panhandle, West Texas, far west Texas, y'all will be in the 40s and 50s. Tomorrow, even warmer 70s, all the way up to the Red River in northwest Texas, 80s in the Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Valley. Gusty south winds ahead of the cold front that'll be coming in from the west, as previously discussed. It's going to be a warm and windy day before it's very windy and cooler as we head into Thursday night and Friday. Behind that cold front on Friday and that storm system, highs in the 30s in the Panhandle, 40s across West Texas down to the Big Country, Texoma, North Texas, the Arklatex, 50s, Edwards Plateau, Concho Valley, Hill Country, Central Texas, Brazos Valley into East Texas, with 60s in Deep South Texas and along the immediate Texas Gulf Coast. Saturday, in between day, we're going to start seeing the approach of an Arctic cold front across the Panhandle, Oklahoma. We're going to have to see just how quickly that moves south, if that's timing speeds up, and it's certainly plausible, if not probable, that'll happen. Some of these temperatures, especially across the Panhandle, West Texas into Texoma, may not get out of the 30s and 20s. As it stands now, 50s and 60s, southwestern half of Texas, 70 in the Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Valley. Now, Sunday, a drastic temperature gradient across the state with a powerful Arctic cold front progressing south. Temperatures in the teens, 20s to single digits. In the Panhandle, wind chills 20 below zero. Same thing across Oklahoma. This graphic's kind of deceptive in the fact it shows high temperatures from 6 a.m. onward Sunday. Crashy the cold front, and it will be every bit crashy in this case. Temperatures will go from the 40s, 50s, and 60s down into the 20s and 30s, wind chills in the single digits and teens quickly behind it. And this will be one of those situations where there's a 40 to 50 degree temperature difference in the span of 40 miles. It's that kind of cold front. But it'll be a nice day across Deep South Texas, Southeast Texas. One more warm day with temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Here's Monday's high temperatures, not getting out of the teens and 20s, the northern third of Texas. It will stay below freezing all day along the north of Interstate 20. Temperatures barely above freezing Monday afternoon in the Hill Country, the Concho Valley, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas. Houston, you're high on Monday if you're lucky, 40. 38 in San Antonio, 43 in... or did I say 41? 41 Houston, 43 San Antonio, 38 in Austin. If we're lucky, it'll hit 28 in Dallas on Monday afternoon with a biting north wind. Amarillo, it'll be 20 degrees Monday afternoon. But honestly, that's probably a bit generous. Meanwhile, those of y'all in Brownsville, you'll start the morning out in the 60s before the cold front hits. And then here's Tuesday's high temperatures now. It's not going to get above freezing in northeast Texas in the Arklatex. DFW, getting above freezing a few hours Tuesday afternoon. Otherwise, the rest of the state, 30s and 40s, but above freezing technically. Now, let's talk about how cold it's going to get. First off, Friday morning and Saturday morning. Saturday morning, a freeze across the northern two-thirds of Texas, but that's not the main cold front. Friday morning, temperatures in the single digits in the Panhandle. It's going to be cold, but here's Monday morning's forecast low temperatures. And again, these may have to come down a bit. Now, I realize these are scary colors, and yes, it is going to be bitter cold with wind chills 10 to 20 degrees lower than this, but I want to emphasize that, unlike February 2021, those 0-degree temperatures are not sitting in San Antonio to Houston. Low temperatures Monday morning, freeze line down to Interstate 10, if not the Texas Gulf Coast. Temperatures below zero in the Texas Panhandle. Single-degree low temperatures into West Texas, Northwest Texas, North Texas, the Arklatex, the Big Country. Temperatures into the teens, all the way down to almost Austin to Bryan College Station. And again, these are probably going to have to come down a bit. Yes, it is definitely bitterly cold. It is not on par with the 2021 February generational event. The difference here and then, well, here we're not going to have a snow cover across the entire state. There may be some chance for winter weather across the northern half of Texas Sunday and Monday, but that is questionable and at this point a low probability. About 80% of model data suggests little to nothing. 10 to 20% suggests maybe something. But again, we're still days away. Forecasting these temperatures, this cold snap is easier at this range. That's going to happen. That's high confidence. Any sort of winter weather mischief, weak upper level storm systems moving overhead that would otherwise just be light showers, but in sub-freezing air mass would be winter weather. We can't really do that more than 2 to 3 days out. So stay tuned. And again, temperatures this cold Monday morning, northern third to the northern half of Texas, not getting above freezing Monday afternoon, leading to sub-freezing temperatures from Sunday, Saturday night and Sunday through at least Tuesday morning, before we mostly warm above freezing Tuesday afternoon with the exception of North Texas and the Arklatex. Things kind of get worse Tuesday morning. This is when most of the state will see their coldest temperatures with the exception of the Panhandle. Single-digit low temperatures across the northern third of Texas, let's just say along the north of Highway 380. Although it may be closer to Interstate 20. 7 in Amarillo, 7 in Lubbock, 13 in Midland, Odessa, 10 in Abilene, 8 to 10 in DFW, 8 in Sherman, 8 in Texarkana, 13 in Lufkin, 13 in Hillsboro, 14 Waco, 18 Austin, 20 San Antonio, 19 to 22 in Houston, 26 to 27 in Corpus Christi, about 22 in Del Rio, 28 in Laredo, 31 degrees in McAllen and Brownsville. So this will be a statewide freeze. But unlike the February 2011 and February 2021 Arctic outbreaks, this one will not last 5 to 7 days. And most locations, if not the entire state, will be above freezing, if not Tuesday afternoon, by Wednesday afternoon, and a pretty quick warm-up begins thereafter. That being said, this is going to be a relatively substantial cold air outbreak for the state of Texas. I strongly encourage y'all to begin preparations for things that require some prep time. Pipes that need to be protected, for example. Keep in mind that any sort of events outside the scope of the weather, say the power grid, not our department. Clearly, if we have issues in that department again, with temperatures as cold as their forecast, we're going to have some problems again. But, again, unlike 2021, we're not going to have a statewide snow cover. We're not going to be below freezing and below zero for 5 to 7 days. So, that's the latest. We're going to keep you updated. I've said it now for a few weeks that contrary to the polar vortex hype, this is not a crazy polar vortex signature. For us, up north, yes. Us, no. This is just one of our nasty cold air outbreaks that lasts 3 days, and then by Thursday, it's back in the 60s and 70s for the state. That being said, preparations will be needed, and we'll keep an eye on it, as we always do. Remember, I don't care if I have to say I'm wrong or something down the road, but at this point, I do not. So, as always, you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, storm chasing video, daily Texas weather roundups, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Visit us on our YouTube channel, Texas Weather Center, for weather forecasts, Texas Storm Chasers for the rest, and as always, on our website, TexasStormChasers.com. We'll chat with y'all again later today or Thursday morning, but we'll be keeping you updated. And remember, it's going to be okay. We'll chat with y'all later. God bless.